Alright, today we're going to look at two runs that are spaced exactly 3 months apart. So this first one is from the end of January, and then the next one will be from the end of April. And they are very, very similar teams, but recorded under different circumstances. So this first one we're looking at was part of the play test for trying to come up with the packs to be used for the Gauntlet. So last week I did a video about the Gauntlet Randomiser on the website. Basically the whole idea is to randomly pick a bunch of different packs and then try and win 5 in a row in customs. I'll link that video in the description if you want to see it. Now the final version of the Gauntlet, or at least the version that I released last week, did not include the pack that we're looking at now. Now the original concept was going to be that there would be 5 packs, but they would all be preset. So, there would be no randomization basically. And what I was intending to do was have a mana pack, a strawberry pack, a trumpet pack, and then a couple of others which I hadn't decided at that point. And I created all the packs, or at least I created the first versions of them, and then I started playtesting to try and make sure that they were actually winnable. Some were easier than others, and this one is obviously the strawberry version. But ultimately I decided I thought it was too limiting. You know, if you have one of each type of pack based on the mechanics from the separate base packs, that means that you still need to own all the packs in order to take part in the Gauntlet. And the whole point of the randomizer was to eliminate that. So we might as well look at some of these runs anyway. And this is a kind of a funny coincidence really, that I ended up recreating this team, or a very similar version of this team, without realizing it. And it was partly due to conversations, I think, with RevGT privately. We were talking about some of these units, like Racket Tail, which is one of the new strawberry units that allows you to replace the perk or ailment on the unit at the front with strawberry, which is extremely strong. In fact, it's way stronger than I thought it was when these pets were originally revealed. And then we've also got the Sparrow. So Sparrow predates Racket Tail. It's from the Star Pack revamp. And it's got an extremely strong ability as well, which is to make strawberries block 10 damage twice. And I think when you upgrade it, it goes up to 20 damage and then 30 damage. I could be wrong on that. A lot of these units, although you know exactly what their ability is, the numerical values are sometimes difficult to remember. So either way, it definitely does block some damage. So we've also got Nurikabe, which is hopefully going to increase that damage blocking potential, because the damage reduction from the Sparrow will stack with Nurikabe's ability. But ultimately here I just wanted to try and use as many of the strawberry units as possible and prove that it was relatively easy to win, you wouldn't have to grind for hours to get a win in this strawberry-centric pack. In fact, we've actually got a Ghost Kitten as well as Nurikabe for some extra damage blocking. Although Ghost Kitten doesn't block physical attacks, it does block snipe attacks. Now I think I'm going to buy strawberry for everything yet. I mean, obviously we've got strawberry and strawberry jam in the same pack to increase our chances of finding everything. And the Sparrow has unlimited triggers, so even though the strawberries can get used up on the other units, they can be replenished by both the Racket Tail and the Roadrunner. And actually here you can see the strength of the ailment being replaced. Oh, we're still going to lose because they just had a better team, but I mean that's the whole point. The Racket Tail is going to be able to replace ailments with the strawberry, and then the strawberry on the Racket Tail itself does reduce the chance of it getting sniped before we manage to get the ability to go off. Now there you can see that the Roadrunner, there's a slight limitation with it in that it doesn't pass back the strawberry plus attack if everything already has strawberry. So you don't even get the attack boost even if if the pet behind, or if the pets behind already have strawberry. Not sure if that's fair, maybe you should be getting the attack boost anyway. But some of these opposing teams are pretty nasty. A lot of people using the Mimic Octopus strategy. Probably this was a Mantis, but I guess it could have been any other unit, and just pilling an Ammonite. Looks like I'm going to actually go and check. Okay, it was a flying squirrel. Or not a flying squirrel, a sugar glider, which looks very similar to a flying squirrel, but it's clearly a distinct animal. Yeah, so they must have just rolled and then pilled the Ammonite. So now we get the full team of strawberries, and I'm just going to start buying food. Probably unlikely that I'm going to get level 3s on anything at this stage, but level 2 Racket Tail would be nice, because then we can replenish the strawberry on Nurikabe once the attacks run out. Yeah, so we only got one activation there, whereas if we'd had the level 2 Racket Tail, we could have had the strawberry back, and Nurikabe could have potentially knocked out some other units. And look at the stats here. You know, the highest stat is 20. It's turned 15. We're probably going to get destroyed here. Yes, level 3, 50-50 Nurikabe. Probably a bit of Competo shenanigans going on there. I wonder if I'm going to spectate that team. Yes, I'm in a bit of a spectating mood clearly in this one. Yeah, it was Manta Ray Competoed into Nurikabe. Okay, we get the point. Grounded of the past. You don't need to keep scrolling, rage scrolling through their turn progression. But again here, yeah, it's turn 16. We still have terribly low stats. We're just completely reliant on the abilities of the pets. And then we face Blammer, who it's yet another Mimic Octopus team. But actually here you can see the Roadrunner replenishing the strawberries after they've been sniped. And we do win with some pretty nice damage blocking going on in that final battle. Alright, next up is a run from the replay system. This is actually very recently recorded, so within the last week. And we're going to end up using a lot of the same units. So yeah, just a coincidence that these two runs were so similar. Because I didn't set out to make them as similar as they ended up being. But the concept for this run was to play Roadrunner with Microbe. So you don't really see this very often, even though you do see a lot of people playing Microbe with Turtle or Tar. I don't think I've seen anyone play Microbe with Roadrunner. I'm sure someone has done it already, but I just haven't encountered them. And I thought this would be an interesting twist on the formula, because generally speaking, if you're playing strawberries, you're super reliant on actually having the strawberry perks. And so you don't really want to be taking Microbe, because all the strawberries are going to get replaced. But since Roadrunner has been added, we're able to replenish those without needing to have a real Velociraptor from tier 6. And then look at this, we get an incredible Capybara chain going. I think we're going to lose here, are we? Okay, no, we do win. That's fine. I've had quite a few games recently where I've had a Capybara stack and I've still lost. Now we get the Microbe, and we end up finding the Racket Tail. A lot of the games I was going for this, I was trying to stat swap onto the Microbe so that it didn't have terrible starting stats, but honestly it doesn't really matter too much. And you can see in this scenario with the level 1 Racket Tail, Roadrunner is still going to have weakness, but if we get a higher level Racket Tail, then that weakness will get replaced as well. So we also find the Sparrow. So you can see a very, very similar setup going on. And now that we've got the Sparrow, the Microbe is actually able to attack a couple of times despite having incredibly poor stats. And I think the weakness on the Vampire Bat here is actually going to help us win. So yeah, this just kind of tickled me, you know, the idea of playing Microbe with Strawberry deliberately. And again, we take Nurikabe. I think this was just coincidence. You know, I didn't remember at the time that the playtest run had involved taking Nurikabe, and now Nurikabe gets the strawberry. It is able to tank a bunch of damage. And you can see in this game, we're racing towards an early victory. We still have 5 hearts, although I think I did lose one right at the beginning and then regain it. Pretty strong looking Shark Mantis team. Actually not very common to see people playing Muskox with Mantis anymore because the stats aren't permanent on Muskox, but we end up beating them pretty comfortably, purely off the back of the damage blocking from the Sparrow and Nurikabe. We're almost to getting the level 3 Racket Tail. I don't know if I had the achievement at this point or not. You can't actually tell from the replay system whether or not you got the achievement. I would have to have noted that down somewhere, which I definitely have not done. But I'm pretty sure I've got the achievement at this point. And that puts us on 9 with 5 hearts still intact. Although we probably do need to win pretty quickly because we're lacking a bit in the stats department. And look at this, it gives us another Mantis team. This time it's actually Seagull with Lamprey, and the weakness completely ruins their team because they had the perk from the Seagull gets removed, and then the Lamprey kills its teammates. So there we go, there's Strawberry with Microbe, maybe for the first time ever on YouTube. Let me know in the comments if you've seen it before.